Thank you very much indeed, Tanya. Can I first thank Wally Bell and acknowledge your welcome to country, and note with respect that under all of this beautiful glass, steel, concrete and wood, it is in the footsteps of your ancestors that we walk today. Welcome everybody. I know you're sitting in neat rows and listening carefully, so I promise that we will be into the real meat of the day, the conversations that will make a difference to all of us at this Plastics Summit. Can I acknowledge Kozulatu, representing our Pacific family, my indefatigable Assistant Minister Trevor Evans. I can ask him any question: how many particular kilos of plastic can be processed in a facility, and what location and where will it go, and he's got the answer. He's met many of you, as have I, and we've loved every minute of our conversations. Warren Ench, Special Envoy for the Great Barrier Reef, representing the challenge of plastics in our oceans. Thank you so much, Warren, and my colleagues that are coming and going throughout the day, some of them who will be leading the panel discussions. How long since we've had Prime Minister, Environment Minister, Assistant Ministers, industry, civil society, local, state, federal government, and the thought leaders of the future together in a room to talk about the challenge of plastics? I don't think it's ever happened, and as I've worked in this policy area, it always encourages and sometimes surprises me that everybody is on board, everybody is wanting to generate and be part of the solutions. Nobody is pointing the finger at anyone else. Well, not often. Nobody is pointing the finger at government and saying, you fix it. It generally is a collegiate effort. Pip Kiernan, can I say a special hello and shout out to you from Clean Up Australia? I was with Pip and some of her crew at Rod Point in Sydney yesterday, and many of the people picking up waste were young people, just like the young people we have here, the 20 young people who are joining us and waiting patiently for their special summit down at Old Parliament House. And I said to one young man, well, what do you think of all this plastic? And he was a local, and he said people still sit on park benches, they still drop their fish and chip wrappers, and they still drop their plastic drink bottles, and they get up and walk away. And he looked at me very sternly and said, it's totally unacceptable. And he's right. And when I spoke to some of the young people this morning, one of them, and I can't remember their name, said to me, your generation is leaving it to us to clean up the plastic mess. Probably I'm paraphrasing it slightly, but that was also said sternly, and so it should have been. Because it is a challenge, and when, as Pip reminded me yesterday, every Australian generates 103 kilos of plastic waste, and that figure is growing, we realise what a challenge it is, and there is more and more plastic entering the supply chain. Not necessarily a bad thing in every situation, of course, but the challenge of recycling, particularly the more difficult, challenging, contaminated plastics, is one of the subjects we'll be looking at today. I know that when I started picking up waste in my community groups not quite 30 years ago, but that's how long Clean Up Australia has been around, we saw it as simply cleaning up litter. We saw it as cleaning up litter, putting it in the bin, and the bin went into landfill. So the next stage, of course, is to see that plastic as a resource, as something of value, and something that can be an input into a subsequent manufacturing process. That's the changing of the conversation that is starting to happen. Economics drives waste, as it does everything else in the economy, and that's the critical difference in some of the work that you're involved in that will see the plastic on the ground, we see it in container deposit schemes, turn into something of value. Clean streams of waste is the appeal that many industry players have made to me, how we can do that, how we can generate enough feedstock into our plastic and pelletising factories so that we can genuinely develop a truly Australian circular economy. Of course, we're plugged into the rest of the world, we always will be, but if we can build these jobs, this investment and this processing onshore where previously it has happened elsewhere, that's exactly what we should do. So in working on a Clean Up Australia Day or wherever you are, so changing the conversation, and I must say, no longer just talking about the problem, but walking the talk. Today is about walking the talk and moving to that next level of real investment, collaboration with the consultation happening along the way so that we can get to seeing, after the Prime Minister's waste ban, where he very clearly said it's our waste, it's our responsibility, the industry, the activity, the processing, and the regional jobs that will follow and that will make a difference. It's a true area, as I often say, of microeconomic reform. So my call to action today is you are all firmly on the national stage, in the national parliament, to work on national solutions we can implement across Australia to address the challenge of plastic. So let's get to work. Thank you.